You're dialed in to the Dawg Pound Podcast, your weekly shot of Cleveland Browns recaps, reactions, and rants with your hosts, John Drake and Chris Akin.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 15 of the Dawg Pound Podcast. I am your host, John Drake. With me is Chris Akin, and my voice is still recovering from Sunday because for the fifth time in 6 weeks, we are discussing a Cleveland Browns victory. And I was there, as I usually am, in the Dawg Pound, and it was glorious.
Dude, I can't believe it's like we keep saying, it's us.
It's us.
Have we gotten the call yet from the front office about hiring us full time?
We might be in contract negotiations, so we'll see.
Of course, if we would ever check the voicemail, we'd know.
Yeah, right. There's probably like 150 messages in there. We keep forgetting to check it.
Yeah, neither one of us has checked it one time since the season started.
Oh, I said, "What's the password?" I'm going to check it. You're like, "I don't know."
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, like I forget. So we got to figure out how to get back in there. But yeah, so that was pretty awesome, man. It was yet another definitive victory over the Cincinnati Bengals, and I gotta say, if there's only one negative that you can take away from the game, it's that yet again they build this big lead, and then just take their foot off the gas and start letting the team back in. Like they're gonna have to change that because eventually somebody's gonna come back on them, and they're gonna go, "What the hell just happened?" It's like, well, you got to keep your foot on the throat. Like as much as I love Freddie Kitchens, when they get that big lead in the middle of the fourth quarter, he just starts going run, pass, run, pass, run, pass. Like, do something, get a couple first downs. Like, don't be so conservative.
Yeah. If there's 10 minutes left in the game and you're up by 40, then you can take your foot off the gas a little bit. But they definitely. I mean, what did we get it down to? 8? Like one
8 points.
Score.
Yeah,
and it's like And I hate to be this guy week after week after week, but old Browns thoughts came back. Because I'll be honest, I was sitting there just enjoying the shit out of the game. I mean, I was just watching it and cheering and yelling and screaming at the TV and having a good time on this end. And then it got close, and I was like, "Oh my God, this can't be happening." I swear. And I'll tell a quick story here that defines how I always think about the Browns. I was in Pittsburgh at the Browns-Steeler game where Tommy Maddox came in when we were up real big and then we lost. And the entire game, I was taunting everybody, every Steeler fan within yelling distance of me. Just the whole time, every first down we got, I'm trying to high five them and pissing them off, and they're punching me and stuff. I was being that dick that everybody hates at the stadium, And then Tommy Maddox came in, and then the Browns just gave up the lead, a 2-touchdown lead or whatever it was. And, and believe me, I got just destroyed at the end of that game by everybody that I had been taunting for 2.5 hours.
Of course.
And now, whenever a team starts creeping back against the Browns, that's all I can think of is how miserable I was at the end of that game that I was at, and then walking out of their stadium, face painted with Browns paint, and them just taunting me. And it's like, all right, I got to be a little quieter now.
Dude, that's my rule. I do not talk crap until the game is over. I kind of broke my own rule because at half I was texting my brother-in-law and one of my buddies, the ones I bet. Mm-hmm. I bet them each a bottle of booze. And at half, I started running my mouth. I was like, we're not losing this game. And so I made one remark. Some total like stone cold moment. I said, I hope you bastards show a little more balls in the second half than you have the previous 6 quarters instead of those shriveled little pieces of trash you've been trying to display. I was just like, I dropped one bomb on him, and I'm like, all right, I'll shut up. And then when the game was over, it was floodgates opened up, man.
I was gonna say, and then in the third quarter, the Bengals came out with the intent of teabagging you over that one. Jesus Christ, dude. Keep quiet.
It was funny because the energy in the stadium was crazy and it was loud as hell all day. And when the Bengals drove down easily and got it to 8 with, I think it was like 4 minutes to go or 4.5 or something. Mm-hmm. It was like pulling the plug on an appliance that's running. Just like, like everyone just stopped and you could tell everyone's like, crap, really? Is this, are we going to do this?
Right.
So it was definitely interesting, but, it was a great game to be at. I'll tell you that, man. That was one of the most fun times I've ever had at a Browns game. And the best thing is we left at about 8 a.m. We got downtown about 10 to 9 and actually set up a tailgate. Like we don't ever do that, but we figured, my wife and I were off of work for Christmas Eve, so we didn't have to go into work the next day. So we're like, let's just go downtown and tailgate, go to the game and party afterwards. And man, those lots filled up so quickly.
Oh yeah.
And the vibe all day long. Like, I mean, when they say, "Oh, you wouldn't even believe how great Cleveland is when the Browns are winning," like it's there. And the vibe from everybody was just positive, and everyone was into it, and it was just a fantastic atmosphere. And it reminded me when I was a kid in the mid '80s with the Bernie years. I mean, it's how it's feeling again, and it's just awesome.
And it's funny, dude, because even the national guys now cannot avoid it. They had what's his name? Adam Archuleta was the color guy for the game. Okay. And he must have said 7-8 times during the broadcast about the energy and about how uplifted the city felt and how great it was walking around town the last couple of days that they were in town. And he really promoted the fact that the city has resurged around the Browns. And dude, I was talking to my kid about this on Sunday, but Baker Mayfield is like the perfect storm, isn't he? Right at the time when LeBron skips town here, you've got Baker coming in and just grabbing the town completely. I mean, everybody is on the train. Even if they don't want to be on the Baker Mania train, they're on the train. If you live here and you like the Browns, you're talking nothing but praise on Baker Mayfield. So it has been an absolutely amazing, transformation in 2 months. I mean, if you think about how long, what is Baker, 11 starts?
Yeah, because he didn't start the first 3.
Right.
So it'd be 12. He's at 12 starts.
So 3 months. So in 3 months, this guy has stepped in and taken a team that was, that we weren't thinking much about. I mean, we were, but we weren't thinking, oh, this is going to be good, and just transformed it, the city, the vibe, everything is different. If you think about it, if you go back and listen to our first or second week when we were talking about Tyrod Taylor, and then you listen to this one or last week or the week before where we're talking about Baker, it's just in our little podcast world, it's like a whole different show.
Yeah, definitely.
And being around football fans and seeing what's online and what the national people are saying, it has changed in rapid fire. Man, if they make the playoffs next year, good God, it's gonna be insanity. People will be. You were down there at 9:00 in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And it was already full or packed, pretty packed. Or
I would say by 10 o'clock, but I mean we pulled in and we were one of the first cars in the particular lot we were in, but people, I mean by 9:30 and definitely 10 o'clock it was jammed.
So let's fast forward 12 months, 13 months for the first Browns wild card game in whatever amount of years it's been, 10 years, 12 years, whatever it's been. Mm-hmm. What time is the tailgate going to be full? I'm going to say night before.
Well, they don't let you do it that long, but I will say this. The line for the Muni lot started at 10 p.m. Saturday. Mm-hmm. So people are already doing and the Muni lot and the pit, obviously, are the two main places to tailgate, especially the Muni lot. But, I mean, people are getting there really early for that now. And, I mean, when you have a sold-out game, people are going to they're going to start realizing, okay, I got to get down there earlier just to get a parking spot or, to get into the stadium or whatever, because it's going to be that packed. And, and especially like you said, if they make the playoffs, if they have a home playoff game, oh my God.
Yeah.
That it's going to be a zoo down there.
Yep. It's going to be a wonderful zoo, something we haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah. I was telling my wife, I said, I'm daydreaming of the day I get the phone call from my sales rep for the season tickets. And he says, "Hey, what's up, John? This is Brian. Okay, the playoff tickets cost this. You want to pay cash or credit or whatever?" It's like, because I'm buying, Browns are hosting a playoff game. And then, it's just like something you couldn't even fathom.
Yeah. For
most of the, actually all of the time that they've been back.
Yeah.
I mean, 2007, you kind of thought that they had it going on. I was not sold on the second half of that season, so it was a little bit of a different feeling for me because I noticed that Derek Anderson was going in the crapper.
Right.
I'm like, this isn't going to end well. The 7-4 season, the Pettin season where they started 7-4, I thought that was pretty much legitimate, and then they derailed it with that stupid Johnny crap.
Right.
But I mean, this stuff with Baker is like, it's so real, and it's staggering to think about because every time you hear people talking about him, it's he's going to set this record, or he did set this record, or he almost has this record, and for example, they have a quarterback power ranking thing on CBS Sports, and most of the season he's been like mid-20s, late 20s, whatever.
Right.
All the guys are ahead of him. He was, I think, number 10 this past week. And it's like, and the guys behind him are all guys like other, first overall draft picks and stuff like that. And, he's playing this well now, and he hasn't even played a full season. I mean, what are we going to have?
Yeah.
I mean, to think about it is just unbelievable.
Dude, if he gets 2 touchdowns on this coming week, he either ties or passes Peyton Manning.
And Russell Wilson. Yep. He needs 2 to tie and 3 to set the record.
For most touchdowns as a rookie ever.
Yeah.
And
but don't forget, they did it in 16 games. He will have done it in 13 and a half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He did it in less games. And Russell Wilson, great guy, great quarterback. He's fine. But Peyton Manning went on to do a little something in his career.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he went on to be a pretty decent quarterback, I would say, like a world beater, like one of the top 3 that either one of us has ever seen in our lifetime, I would think.
Oh yeah.
And he's first year not playing a full season. He's in that elite status. That's a statement, man.
Yeah,
that's a big statement. And
I keep reading stuff, because I read a mock draft that was on CBS Sports last night, and they had the Browns. I think we're down at like 18th or 19th or something with the pick, and they said this Browns offense is terrifying, in the good way. And people just keep saying how great the Browns are now, and they're turning the corner and everything. And it's the funniest thing to me is that we're getting all this praise, and people are saying, "Oh, this offense, look what it's doing." I'm actually not as sold as most of the national people
on the offense.
Dude, you know what? The losses when we got up against, when we played the Chargers and the Chiefs, we got rolled.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like those are and the Texans, probably the 3 top teams in the AFC. We played them, and you could see the difference in where we're at as opposed to where they're at. So all these national people are like, "Oh man, this offense is so great. It's this, that, and the other." It's like, well, let's just wait. I mean, if we come out and beat the doors off of Baltimore this week, get that one definitive win that I've been talking about against a quality opponent,
sure,
then I think my mind will change. But I still see room for growth because I think, I love the Browns, but if we were to get in the playoffs and have to play, the Chargers again or the Texans again or something, I think we'd get hammered.
Well, I mean, we're definitely still, for as well as the receivers have played, we're a receiver short. We definitely need a number 1 because it's not Jarvis Landry. As well as he's playing right now, which I think he's playing pretty well. Oh, yeah. Him, Higgins, Perriman, none of those guys are a number 1. They're just not. We need, I'll say, a Josh Gordon-like talent, at one, a big, strong, fast, catches everything thrown at him body. We need one of those. We need a Michael Thomas. We need one of those kind of guys. If we had one of those and we could put Landry back in the slot, and I'll be honest, I would be quite comfortable keeping at the two, either Perriman or Higgins, either one. Probably Perriman. Yeah. Perriman seems to have better hands. But which is surprising.
Yeah, I know. For a guy that had reputation of the drops, and that's why he got cut. He hasn't dropped a single thing with us. Knock on wood.
He doesn't drop anything, and Higgins does from time to time, a little bit. But if that was our three was Perriman or Higgins, take your pick, which one. Michael Thomas, and I'm just throwing that out there. Michael Thomas at the one, and Landry in the slot. Then with Chubb in the backfield, then we've got a really intimidating offense.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at an offense that runs like the Chargers do when the Chargers have Melvin Gordon at full speed.
Yep.
And that's dangerous. That's going to be 40 a game. That's a good problem to have. So I think we definitely got to find a number one, whether it's through the draft or through free agency or something. I think we definitely need that. And while Robinson has played well, I think we still need to we need to find a more definitive tackle. Maybe not a left tackle. Maybe what we need is a tackle on the other side. But Baker still has to move a lot. He's not getting knocked down, which is great. I'm comfortable with that. But he's still he never can settle into the pocket. And while he is definitely one of the best I've seen in a long time at throwing on the run, that's going to come back to bite him at some point. You cannot just live your whole career on the run. You have to be able to settle into the pocket a little bit more than he does. So, are there things? There's definitely things. But, yeah, considering where we were, dude, I mean, you informed me yesterday that I happily lost a bet to your brother-in-law.
It's my brother-in-law.
Yeah, that because I had said there was no way the Browns would win more than 6 games, and I'll happily pay that bet because I mean this is astounding what has happened this year, but we still got a ways to go. And you're right, the offense has been good. The offense has. I don't think we've had a single game where the offense has been great.
The first half against Cincinnati, that first game.
Okay, that's a half. I said a game. We have not had a 4-quarter great offensive game.
Well, what about the Atlanta game? But I mean, okay, well, your point is valid. It's not like you can look at a whole bunch of games, but I think that goes back to my point where you're still looking for that definitive statement win against a solid, great opponent. And
yeah,
it hasn't happened yet. That's the next hurdle I think that I need to see them clear.
Yeah. And, we talked about this last week, but, we definitely need some upgrades on the defensive side of the ball. Defense has been playing great, and I don't know why they just decided not to play in the fourth quarter this week, but up until the fourth quarter, they were kicking ass. And Jannard Avery, good Lord, they must have called his name 10 times on the broadcast. He was in the backfield. He was making tackles. He was everywhere during the game this week for 3 quarters, and then nothing. And we talked about last week. Putting somebody on the other side of Miles is gonna really, really make a huge impact on this team next year. And you can bet if I was betting what they'll go with first round, it's just that they're going to look for a defensive end to play the opposite Miles so that they can't triple cover him anymore. Because that really, to me, feels like the only major missing piece to the defense is a compliment to Myles Garrett. Once they get that compliment and some depth when people get hurt, and not even hurt like for the season, but hurt in and out of, they get hurt and they're out for 3 plays and come in, and teams light us up when a guy goes out for a play or 2.
Yeah.
And so, dude, we are close. We are close. And I mean, even with us getting eliminated from the playoffs this week, and let's say that we win our game and Pittsburgh loses their game. Okay? So we end up with the same record as the Steelers. We really miss, if my math is right, we miss the playoffs by a half game. If we're 8-7-1 and the Steelers are 8-7-1, we miss by the tie. If we would have beat the Steelers in that other game, if we would have beat the Steelers,
well, it also depends. I mean, well, it depends on the other teams, because if a 9-win team gets in, then yeah, that's correct.
Well, because if we were 9-7 instead of 8-7-1, and the Steelers were 8-8 instead of 8-7-1, we would win because we would have the tiebreaker. We would have a split with Pittsburgh, and we would have the
division record
and the tiebreaker with the whatchamacallit, the Ravens.
Yeah.
So we would get in. So we literally, if we win and Pittsburgh loses this week, which is likely, that's not even unlikely.
They're playing Cincinnati. They're not going to lose that game.
That would be good if it happened that way. But it's if it were to go that way, well, all I'm trying to say is we missed this year by a bad kick. That's how close this team was to playoffs.
Well, dude, I'll do you one better. It really, what you can even look and say it was nothing we did on the field, because that horrible spot in the Oakland game.
Yeah,
the referee made an awful call. If he just calls that a first down, the game's over. So there's your win right there.
Yeah.
So you can leave everything else the same, and just look at that referee and say, you cost us the playoffs if we miss by a half game. I mean, it's right there.
Yep. And that to say that after we've 0-16. I mean,
yeah.
People, it's funny because people just talk about that now like that's not a significant mark. 0-16 is as significant a mark as turning around and making the playoffs would be this year. It's almost impossible to go 0-16.
Well, I know.
I mean, in the history of the league, what, 2 teams?
Only 2.
Us
and the Lions.
Detroit. Yeah. Every other year, football, how many years have we had NFL football? 100?
Yeah, quite a bit.
We've had 100 years of it, and the worst team in 98 of those years. If we've had 100 seasons, the worst team in 98 of those seasons found a way to beat somebody.
Yep.
That says that really goes to how lousy this team was, how fast John Dorsey turned it around, how fast the energy of not only Mayfield but Miles Garrett.
Yeah.
The energy of Miles Garrett and the draft picks and the coaches and Freddie Kitchens and Greg Williams and, throwing cancer known as Hugh out of here. It just, the whole spectrum of it really unbelievably turned this in a way that you could have never seen coming. Hell, neither one of us saw it coming.
No. And I mean, you talk about 0-16. I take it further when I think about it, because I think of 3-36-1.
Yeah, no kidding.
The guy couldn't win anything. And to say that it's a playoff turnaround, I'm not even going to say, oh, they did it in a season. They've done it in half of a season, because when Hugh left, he was 2-5-1. So they've literally done it in less than half of a season. This turnaround, since Williams and Kitchens took over, if we got into the playoffs, they would have done that in half of a season after 2.5 years of Hugh just completely shitting the bed in every way possible.
Yeah, it's amazing. Dude, and you know what's most amazing, and this has nothing to do with the Browns, and you probably did not see this, but they made a point of it on the broadcast. And when they did, I had to look at it, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Did you know that during like when the defense, Cincinnati's defense comes off the field, that Marvin Lewis gives up the head coaching spot to go talk to the defense for 2 or 3 plays. So he leaves the head coaching spot and goes back with the defense to start scheming for the next set of downs, and has Hugh Jackson as the coach.
Well, you can do that if you got a guy on your sideline that has head coaching experience.
Yeah, but barely. He has head coaching losing experience.
Well, I said experience. I didn't say success.
He's what, 11-50 in his career?
Oh, he was 8-8. Yeah, he was. Yeah, because he was 8-8 with the Raiders, and he was 336 and 1 here. So it's 11-44 and 1.
Would you ever turn that over? Yeah, I'm gonna take off a couple plays now and let that guy lead my team.
The thing that just baffles me, if you're a Bengals fan right now, I mean, you got to be like crapping your pants. It's like, but they're not. I mean, there's all of this talk about Lewis going into the front office and Hugh Jackson taking over as head coach. Even one of my buddies that I won the bet from is saying, "Well, why? It's not a bad thing. I mean, Hugh has experience." I'm like, you have been ripping on me for 2.5 years about how god awful the team is, and now that he's gone, we are destroying you, and you're saying it's not a bad thing for you to have that guy as your head coach? Like, what on what planet are you living? Like, and I just don't hear any almost any outrage from Cincinnati about the fact that this could happen. Like, how could you want that?
But they shouldn't want that. But I'll tell you, since they do, they can feel free to raid the Browns coaching staff as well and take Amos Jones with them.
I was gonna say,
Jesus,
here comes the weekly famous Amos blast.
Dude, again.
Yep.
Another missed extra point and another blocked punt. That guy, how does he should have been fired before Hugh Jackson. He is awful. Dude, come on. And the blocked punt, not even close.
No.
I mean, he blocked the punt. He almost got to the ball before the kicker took the step into the ball. Yeah. That's how bad it was blocked. It was blocked by a step and a half, literally. It was awful. Just another breakdown. The missed extra points, I get it. They all, for whatever reason, and I don't know if it's just in every kicker's head in the NFL or what, but I can't figure out why these guys can't kick a 30-yard field goal anymore.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Because am I wrong in thinking before they moved the extra point back 10 yards or whatever they moved it back, that a 30-yard field goal we always thought of as automatic?
Yeah.
We always thought of that as just, that's an automatic kick. Now, none of these kickers can seem to make it for whatever reason, and especially our kickers.
Well, dude, you say that, but, I mean, the extra point thing, he's botched a few. He's 16 for 18 on his feet. It's either 16 for 18. It was either before the game, but he was 2 for 2, so he's either 16 for 18 now, or he was, and now he's 18 for 20. He's only missed 2 field goals for us. The problem is it looks. I'm with you. It looks awful when he does it, but they're going through.
Here's the problem. It looks awful, which means eventually. See, with kicking, when it decides to go with kickers, it all goes at once. You know what I mean? If you think about it, you'll have kickers that have, how many kickers have we seen in our lifetime that are like, this guy has the greatest kicking percentage in the history of the NFL, and then they get cut the next year because they miss 8 in a row or something.
Yeah, right.
It always happens that way. Kicking is kind of like being a fighter in the UFC. You're great, you suck. There's no
fall off a cliff.
Yeah, there's no fall off on it. It's just great or awful. And the problem with a guy that is shaky now is that we're going to give up 2 or 3 games when he falls off the cliff. And he's not that far from fall. He's still, hanging on by a fingernail on the cliff. They go through, but you got to admit, there's nary a kick that you're just confident is going through.
Oh yeah. I mean, still every single kick when we're at the stadium, no matter what, I mean, everybody's just
silent to not disturb him.
They're nervous.
Yeah.
And that's why that's why I bring up that stat, because people don't understand that. They think the guy's like kicking 50% because it just looks so ugly, and we have had kicking problems. and every time he goes out there, you're just like, oh crap.
Yeah.
You
have no faith in it. And the real problem that I have is that even going into next year, and I mean, maybe it'll be better, maybe it won't, but especially this year, we're not a good enough team to have to lose giveaway points. We're just not. I mean, it didn't affect us this week, but it could have. The fact that with 4 minutes left, Cincinnati, who had the momentum at the end of the game, could have driven down and gotten a 2-point conversion and tied the game because he missed that point is why we're not a championship level team quite yet. That is a position that I would not mind seeing them going as high as maybe even a 4th rounder to get whoever the top guy is in the draft at kicker. I mean, 4th seems a little high, maybe 5th, but Well,
I mean, they drafted Zane Gonzalez in the 5th round, so
well, let's not make that mistake again. Let's
he was the best guy.
No, he was the best analytic guy. Let's use the eye test on the kicker this time.
In the draft, he was like almost automatic in college, so they're like, all right, cool.
Well, let's get somebody that's not a head case then, because Zane Gonzalez is awful.
They'll address it.
Yeah,
they're going to address it. I mean, that's just they're going to address it. So
they're not going to be.
Yeah,
we're not going into next year with Greg Joseph or whatever. Is that his name, Greg Joseph?
Yep, Greg Joseph.
Yeah, we're not going into next year with that guy. No way. They need a better guy. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind if they went out on free agency and got a reputable kicker. I really wouldn't mind that.
Well, get Phil Dawson back here. I don't care if he's older and his range isn't quite what he used to be. He knows exactly how to kick here, so you're not going to miss. It's another home field advantage.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about Phil Dawson. I'd rather get a nice lively leg and groom him in here, but just have him be accurate and not kicking a ball that looks like I threw it with my opposite hand.
Well, like I said, man, at least it's going through. I mean, man, was it that my uncle used to say when playing golf, like he'd hit a shot that looked terrible but ended up good. He's like, oh, it ain't pretty, but it's got tits. So
yeah, well,
it's like it's basically our field goal kicker.
Unfortunately, when Greg Joseph makes a kick, it looks like a chick halfway through an implant surgery.
Yeah,
it's got one tit.
Oh, that one in Baltimore that beat him. Ooh, gosh.
Yeah. Just
or we couldn't even tell it was through. Like, is that good? Would we win? Like, what just happened here?
Dude, just a knuckleball.
Oh yeah.
And the missed, when he missed that kick, I know I just fell back into my couch. I was like, that
extra point. Yeah, when he doinked it off the upright.
And then I texted you, and I was just waiting for you to go, yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, your point is valid because, the way that they've done it, this competition committee, they wanted to make the kicking game more strategic. So they pull, the extra point 10 yards further back so that this can happen. So you get the scenario like we got on Sunday where a team, you miss an extra point. Now all of a sudden the team's down by 8 instead of 9. So now a team can get a touchdown on a 2-point conversion and, it's, more strategy and stuff like that. But your point's valid because, if he makes that kick, they're down by 2 scores. There's no way they're doing that.
Yeah.
But down by 1 score, and thankfully they were stupid enough to kick the ball off. And I still cannot fathom the logic of not doing the onside kick at that point.
Well, I'm going to give you the logic behind it.
They had no timeouts. If you had 3 timeouts, I get it, but they didn't.
I'm going to give you the logic behind it because I was watching another game. I forget what it was, or maybe it was right after the Chiefs and whoever. There was a second game that had an onside kick at the end of it, and they brought up the stat that because they've stopped the run-up, where everybody has to start from a standing position, the percentage of onside kicks is being successful now is down like 90% because the players just can't get to the 10-yard spot in time. So onside kicks are all but useless this year. They're at the lowest percentage they've ever been in the history of the NFL. It's for as much as the moving the field goal or the extra point back has changed the game a little bit. so too has the change in rules for the safety concern, I guess. And it's wrecked the ability to do an onside kick. So teams now, when they have 4 minutes, their best bet now is to kick it off and try and get the ball back with like a minute left, and then heave it up. It's a more statistically sound method than the 0.1% or whatever of onside kicks that Ark completed this year.
I would still do an onside kick.
Well, dude, I'm just telling you what they said. I don't. But and sure enough, though, they literally did an onside kick in this game, and they got the bounce and everything. And in any other season, the ball bounced over the guy's head to where he missed it. But because the guys weren't down in his face, the other guy was able to get it before the kicking team was able to get it, because they just weren't where they needed to be.
Yeah,
I'm not for protecting the players. I know that's I know that's a terrible thing to say, but I really don't care about CTE. I just want my football back. And you know what? I love onside kicks where they smash into each other.
Well, I mean, I don't want to sound insensitive, but I mean, I kind of agree. And these guys, pitch a fit about it and everything. It's like, well, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to go smashing your body into somebody else for like 3 hours every Sunday, and a little bit of contact during the week in practices, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
So that's why this whole lawsuit that the older players have against the league, like, oh, we didn't know. Like, dude, how many times are you going to hold your hand on a hot stove before you stop doing it? You know that smashing your head into people is not good.
Yeah.
Like you knew that. You were getting headaches and all this other crap, but you had to have this stupid tough Iron Man attitude of I'm not coming out. Mm-hmm. Now your brain is mush and you're trying to sue somebody because you did that to yourself.
Yeah.
I never understand that. It's like, they didn't tell us. Oh, really? So you need to be told that smashing your head into people is bad for you?
Yeah. If you didn't have a headache and then you got hit in the head and then you have a headache, maybe that tells you that you don't want to get hit in the head.
Yeah.
I don't need a doctor to confirm that for me.
Yeah. But speaking of people that got hit in the head, I do have something I would like to address because I'm finally, the Browns are finally at that point where I'm sick and tired of hearing the haters. Mm-hmm. And even like I said, one of my Bengal buddies that I won the bet from, he was still trying to talk trash after the game. He said, "Oh, you guys sucked for the last several years." I'm like, "No, you can't do that now. Yeah. We smoked you twice this year. You're in last place. We are not. We are on the upswing. Your team is shit.
Yeah.
You can't run your mouth."
Yeah.
"Oh, but remember how bad you were?" No, that doesn't matter. That's over now. Like, because then I can just go back and say, remember how Cincinnati had the worst combined record in the NFL from 1989 to 2014? You want me to go and do that?
Yeah.
Because I could do that.
How about the 70s? Where they didn't win 6 games in a season for the 70s.
Yep.
If we're gonna go backwards, we could do that all day with Cincinnati.
Yep. But the hater that I want to talk about, is this asshole Colin Cowherd. He will not. Did you see he's doing it again?
What did he do?
He's talking about Baker again because he stared Hugh Jackson down.
Oh, please. Yeah, I think I did see that.
I want a grown-up playing quarterback for me. I want a grown-up playing quarterback for me. Like Drew, you don't see Drew Brees doing that. You don't see Tom Brady doing that. You don't see Sam Darnold doing that. I'm like, well, you get off of Sam Darnold. He's not nearly as good as Baker, and he never will be.
Sam Darnold is an average quarterback.
Yeah. All he's doing is he was wrong about Baker, and he's been getting crucified for it. So now he will not admit that he was wrong.
Yeah.
So he's just going to stay on this because he's bitter because he's getting pounded from all angles. Yeah. It's like, shut up. Baker's good. You were fucking wrong. Shut your mouth. I am so tired of that guy. I mean, I finally, I don't tweet at celebrities because they don't care, but I did it. I got so mad the other night I tweeted at him. And I'm like, just shut up. Admit you're wrong. Be a man. Yeah. Stop with this hot take bull crap, dude. Yeah. You know he's good. You cannot deny that he is good. And saying, oh, he's not a grown-up. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, you know who else wasn't a grown-up? Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Brett Favre in one breath was sending dick pics to cheerleaders, and the other breath was beating everybody on the field.
Yeah.
He was a little kid that could play the game. So stop it. You know what? And who is Baker compared to? Brett Favre.
Yeah. and to me, it's like, you don't know what happened behind the scenes. For Baker, I mean, he gets these chips on his shoulder, and sometimes, he invents them because that's how he plays.
Yeah.
But for him to keep this going this long, you don't know what was said behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, Hugh could have totally just thrown him under the bus big time. And, I mean, Cowherd even took it so far as, and you know how this gets me going.
Yeah.
He even took it so far as to start ripping the fans and the city of Cleveland.
Right.
Like saying, oh, yeah, this is what Cleveland needs. Yeah, good for you, Cleveland. Like, yeah, bet you're real happy with this guy. I'm like, you know what? We are, you dick.
Yeah.
Because we've had to listen to turds like you shred us for the last 20 years, and now we can throw it back. Baker basically is the embodiment of how we feel.
Yeah.
And for him to do that to Hugh Jackson is because we all want to do it, but we're never going to get a chance to stare Hugh Jackson down and thrash him on the field. But Baker did. So he's basically doing what we want to do. Yeah, are we proud of it? You're goddamn right we're proud of it.
Yeah.
Because the guy screwed us. He cared only about himself, not about winning. He went on a media tour afterwards to say why it was everybody else's fault.
Right.
I wanted Deshaun Watson. I wanted Carson Wentz. Whatever, man. Like, of course we hate him. And I'm so tired of people, Baker's got this crappy attitude. Up yours.
Yeah,
what Baker has? A potentially NFL all-time great arm. Like, just shut up.
Yeah. Well,
you can't cut on the Browns anymore.
Yeah, and Cowherd is, he definitely, I don't know what his thing is about this town, but he hates this town. He's one of those guys. He definitely hates this town. You know whose ass he's always up? LeBron's. He's every day, because I'm subscribed. I'm surprised I didn't hear this. Was this yesterday that he did this? Because I didn't listen yesterday.
I think it was.
Because I'm subscribed to his podcast, because I do listen to his podcast, and every single day, there's a LeBron update. Every single day. This guy cannot go. He can't talk about the NBA without talking about LeBron. And, and back when he was here, he was the first one to say LeBron needs to leave. LeBron needs to leave. LeBron is bigger than Cleveland was his famous quote, I believe. And now he's up LeBron's ass. So, you know what? Who gives a shit what Colin Cowherd says or any of these guys? This has been the knock that Cleveland has had against the whole national media. They take some bullshit from the old days and will hold on to that forever instead of, and when things do turn around, they want to hold us to the fucking fire on the lake or whatever. I mean, how many times we heard that this year in the baseball playoffs? I heard stupid Pedro Martinez talking about the fire in Lake Erie. When was that fire in Lake Erie?
The Cuyahoga River. It was like the mid to late 70s. Yeah.
So 70s. So 40 fucking years ago. Get over it. There's been a lot that's gone on since then. And you know what? Unlike your faggot ass towns wherever it is that you live in, we will fight over our town. We will absolutely fight. That's what Cleveland brings. Cleveland wants somebody that looks you right in the eye, both middle fingers in the air, and says, come and get some, you fucking cocksucking fuck. And that's what Baker does. Baker Mayfield, his attitude is the embodiment of what we are as Midwest angry people. And that's what we are. I'll be the first one to admit it. We are angry Midwest people. And
like I said, we've been crap for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we've been the brunt of every joke.
Yeah.
And we've never had anything to be able to back it up with. And I always, I ate as much crow as anybody. I just took it because it's like, what are you you can't run your mouth when you're 0-16. You're 1-15. When you're constantly picking in the top 5 of the draft, you can't rip. I would defend our fandom. I would defend the city, till the cows come home for sure. You can't rip on that, but I mean, it results on the field. Sure.
Huh?
So, I mean, now that we finally have something on the field to back it up with as well, it's like, there's a certain segment of people out there that just, they can't handle it because they just love to beat on Cleveland. It's like, well, that's over now. Mm-hmm. So you can put that away You can just go find another whipping boy because it ain't us.
Yeah.
And pretty soon we're coming to your town. We're going to steamroll your ass on the field. So
and to try and bring it down on Cleveland as a community, you know what? Go fuck yourself. Because let's be honest here. Cleveland is the number 3 sport in Cleveland. Number 3 sport is definitely basketball. Would you say that's fair? Behind the Indians and the Browns? Yeah. And the number 2 all-time biggest parade in the history of championships was the Cleveland basketball team. As far as the amount of people that came out to it. The only one that was bigger was the Cubs that had gone 110 years without a championship.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, when the Browns win that championship, you're going to see 10 million people flood that city.
It's funny, we were talking about that the other day. I'm like, I don't know how they're going to do it. I was downtown for the Cavs parade, and I was one of the first few hundred people in front of that stage because we literally got on the train to go downtown at 4 a.m. To get in line, and we left right as they opened the gates to get in. We were in there for maybe 10 minutes, and it was such a crush.
Yeah,
and so I was there. I witnessed it firsthand. I can say unequivocally, I have no idea how they are going to do anything in that city if the Browns win a championship and do that parade. Yeah. Because I mean, they should seriously. All businesses downtown should just close.
They'll have to.
Because employees won't be able to get in or out. You know what I mean? It's gonna be an absolute melee.
Dude, the parade itself is gonna have to be 30 blocks. It's gonna have to be and they're gonna have to zigzag in and out of the streets to just drive past all the people. It will be stupidly insane. You know, it'll be absolute pandemonium. And then what are these guys going to say? Well, these guys are just so desperate that they have to shut up.
Yeah, like you know, we won't get the Philly treatment like when everyone's like, "Oh, look how great Philly is with their parade because they haven't won a Super Bowl and so great." Like, it's going to be more crapping on Cleveland type stuff probably from some of these guys. You know, I mean, what's a guy like Cowherd going to say? You know, when Baker Mayfield wins us a Super Bowl or 7, you know, like what's he going to say then? Like, what is your talking point going to be when you can't fall? Well, he's immature. Like, okay, but he's winning Super Bowls. Yeah, he's immature. I don't want him.
Yeah,
like,
good. Don't have him.
It's like, you know, at some point, just be a man and own up to the fact that you were wrong.
Yeah. Well, he'd rather tell us about the Jets, and because, you know, everybody really, the only thing they care about is New York football and New York basketball and New York baseball. That's the only thing that matters.
Give me a break. Yeah, because the Knicks are entertaining and the Jets are entertaining and the Giants, please.
Exactly. You know, Colin Cowherd, Trey Wingo, Mike Golick, Mike Francesa, all those guys, jump in a fucking lake and drown, you fucks. Just go away.
Well, Mike Golick is a Clevelander, so he is one of us. But
yeah, but what does he report on his show every week? The stupid Knicks. Or the stupid Jets.
I think you're thinking of Mike Greenberg, not Golick.
No, I listen to Golick and Wingo every day. And I get my daily Jets rundown or my weekly Jets rundown.
Well, the Jets was Greenberg, 'cause that's his team. And I agree with you. He would do that all the time. I'm like, will you shut up? Nobody cares about the Jets. They are boring.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything of note. They're not a good team. Like, who cares?
Look,
just shut up.
Even the girls don't like the uniforms because even their uniforms are boring.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're boring on every level. They really do stink.
Yep. So, well, on that hater note, let's move on to next week and see what we're thinking on this one. I don't know what to think. This could be their coming out party, because I think the team, first of all, wants to go 8-7-1. Mm-hmm. I think there's growing sentiment in that locker room to not, you know, break up the band, so to speak. And I think they are aware that if, you know, Williams and Kitchens go 6-2 in their 8 games and, you know, finish winning 4 in a row and, you know, 6 of their last 7, that I don't know how John Dorsey can't bring them back. And I think they want that. They want to continue what they started this year. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of juice in the Browns locker room. I just wonder if it's enough to beat a Baltimore team that's playing, you know, some of the best defense in the NFL right now. And the strength of their team is their run game, and we are not good against the run.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to have to get some turnovers from Lamar Jackson because he's very turnover prone.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get turnovers, and you have to find a way to turn those into points.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be another low-scoring game like it was before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go with my heart on this one instead of like a lot of rational thought, and I'm going to say the Browns by a field goal, something like 20-17, 17-14, something like that.
Yeah. I think the Browns are going to win. I think the one core thing to watch this week is not so much the run game itself and not so much even the pass game, but our defensive end's ability to contain. Because the one thing that is giving Lamar Jackson such good ability right now is the fact that most teams are not containing him. He's not that good in the pocket. He's adequate in the pocket, but he's not good in the pocket. He's much better when he's running. So if Miles and whoever's out there on the other side can contain him, keep him in the pocket, I think you're going to eliminate a good amount of their offense. And once you start eliminating that amount of their offense, you're going to be able to clamp down on the run game, because if they're already containing to keep Lamar Jackson, then you're cutting out the outside runnings of even the running backs. So I think that is the biggest point of this game. I think they're going to find a way to do it. I think they're going to come out very, very hyped. To be honest, I think the Ravens are going to come out very, very hyped as well for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, they're not going to, they haven't forgotten what happened a couple weeks ago. And B, they do not want to be the team that is nationally recognized as eliminated by the Browns.
Oh yeah.
And I'm hopeful that we do eliminate them, because my hatred for the Ravens. I can't stand the Ravens. So I hate them more than Pittsburgh. And I know that's me and you, I think, are different on that one, but I hate the Ravens most of all.
No, I hate them of the three division opponents. I hate them the least.
I hate them the most. They're my team that I didn't get to celebrate. And because of that, I'd like to see a nuke hit Baltimore. Just kill them all. Orioles as well.
I have friends there, so if it could avoid their houses, that'd be great.
Well, it could avoid their houses until they send the Rumplemans, and then after that, they gotta go.
They're not the ones. Those are my Cincinnati friends.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I wasn't that dumb as to bet the Ravens fans the same thing. So
I want all annihilation of Baltimore, including in this game on Sunday or Saturday, whatever day it is this week.
Oh yeah, I want this win so bad. I mean, I just want the season to end on a high note, and to say we beat Baltimore, we finished 8-7-1, and 4-1-1 in the division, and 4-game win streak, all that stuff. I mean, I want that so bad.
I'm gonna go Browns. I'm gonna say I'm thinking it's gonna be close, like you're thinking. I'm thinking like 24-20.
So we're pretty similar. Yeah, there's so much on the line, and I mean, obviously, the national media knows that because they flexed the game to 425, and they gave us CBS's number one announced team for the first time maybe ever.
Who's it going to be? Romo and is that Romo and
Nance? Yeah, Nance and somebody else.
Probably Romo, right?
I think it is. Yeah, but yeah, whoever their number one team is, that's who we got. So they want to see Baker versus Lamar, and all those storylines, and Baker shooting for the touchdown record and all this, that, and the other. And man, I'm already pissed though, because this offseason is going to be so long. I don't know how I'm going to get through it, dude. I'm already looking at the opponents for, next year, and I'm looking at it going, okay, well, we got this, we could beat them. And then I'm thinking, damn it, that's 9 months away.
Yeah. Dude, my favorite part is that I do not know anything about the draft this year. We're at week 17. I don't know anything about the draft. And that is a wonderful thing. I mean, how many years in a row have we been talking about the draft from like the 8th week of the season?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank God.
I'm with you, man. I mean, I read the mocks just to see what position is kind of coming up, with the most, the most picks. I'm stumbling over my words here, but just saying, okay, are most people projecting us to get a receiver? Are they projecting us to get a defensive end? For that stuff. But I know like 3 names, whereas whereas in a normal year I know like the top 15.
Yeah, I know none.
I'm just like, I don't even care.
You know what? More than ever, I don't care. I'm not even gonna watch the draft this year. I don't care who they pick. If I've bought in anywhere, I've bought into John Dorsey. I'm gonna trust that this guy is gonna know who he's picking, and he's proven it. We mentioned Jannard Avery at the beginning of the podcast today. That guy was what, a 5th rounder?
5th rounder,
and he's a stud.
Yep,
he is an absolute stud. So if that guy knew enough to find that guy, that's definitely getting a piece of coal and polishing it up into a nice little diamond. I'm going to trust this guy. I'm going to trust that he's going to find the right guys to fit this team that he's pretty much built himself. So, I'm happy to not know anything about the draft. I'm happy to get to next September and hopefully we talk about 12 wins next year instead of 8.
Well, there's that Doug Lesmerises article that detailed exactly why we're going to go 12-4. Mm-hmm. So,
and with any luck, on the eve of the 12th win, Colin Cowherd has a stroke.
Right. Nice. Well, hey man, if we get that 12-4, we will have earned it because, at home we've got Buffalo, Miami, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the AFC South same place finisher. So that's going to be either the Titans or the Colts.
Right. And
then we got the 3 division games, 2 of which will be difficult. And away we've got the Patriots, the Jets. There's our Jets buddies again. Arizona, San Francisco, AFC West, same place finisher. So that's going to be either the Broncos again or the Chargers or Chiefs. So one of those 2 is going to suck if we get second place. And then, the division game. So it's not on paper a very easy schedule, at least from what it looks like right now. So we will have earned it.
But didn't we go into this year with like the second hardest schedule or something?
I think it was 5th, but yeah, we were way up there.
We were way up there, and we won 7-8 games. So
yeah, I'm just happy that we're playing Miami next year, so that when we throttle them, I can come on our show and be like, I told you that they sucked way worse than the Browns. I told you were wrong. But all right, man. Well, I'm gonna go cook my Christmas meal for everybody. So hope everybody had a great holiday. Thanks for checking out the podcast. We appreciate all the support. And as usual, here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Hoo, hoo.
Thanks for listening to the Dawg Pound Podcast. Be part of the next edition by sending your thoughts to Woof, that's WOOF, at dawgpoundpodcast.com, or by calling us at 216-503-6404. See you next time, and go Browns!